guys, it's Christina. Welcome back to my channel. As you can tell from the title of this video and also from my shirt, I wanted to tell you all about this year's Chattanooga Film Festival, which took place online. By the way, before I forget, I actually did kind of sort of vlog the festival last year. Whenever I've done travel vlogs in the past, they've always been from my hotel room. You know, I'm not one of those people to use my broadcast journalism background and get a press pass and all that kind of stuff. I like just going to the festival and meeting people and, you know, just hanging out like a normal person. So last year's videos from the film festival are all, I believe, on a playlist together. So I'm gonna go ahead and link that in the cards and in the description. So the way that they had everything structured this year was they still had their mix of panels and podcast recordings and full-length films, you know, feature films and short films. The feature-length films and the short films were all available on demand. And the panels and the podcast recordings each had like a specific date and time. But from what I understand, after like the initial live stream, you could actually go back and watch it after the fact if you had missed it. I watched some of the panels. I watched the one in Women in Horror. I watched one on set safety. There was a Lifetime Achievement Award celebration for Joe Dante, so it was really nice to see him get interviewed. And I didn't realize that he had directed some other movies that I had seen other than, you know, Gremlins is the obvious one in Gremlins 2 that I can think of that he directed, but apparently he's also directed some other films that I've seen. And I can go ahead and link his IMDb page below. I'm also going to link the IMDb pages for the films that I talk about. So I was very fortunate on the first day of the film festival to get hooked up on Twitter with a bunch of people who were doing watch parties on Twitter. So we started that off on the first day, and the way we did it was, you know, somebody would pick a film for us to watch. So we went ahead and we would sync up our computers at the same time to watch the film, and then, you know, we would just be doing like a live commentary to each other about the film. And so the very first film we decided to watch was Jumbo, which I was a little bit anxious as soon as I saw that it was a foreign film with subtitles, but it actually ended up being fairly easy to follow. It was about this girl, I'm guessing she's either in her 20s or 30s, and she falls in love with a tilt-a-whirl, the amusement park ride. And you know, it had some really beautiful imagery, some lovely, a lot of really lovely bright colors to it, and you know, it was interesting and kind of odd, obviously, to see this inanimate object that that had been given, you know, a life and a personality and feelings and that kind of thing. You know, somebody had commented that it reminded them of The Shape of Water. This movie I thought was like leaps and bounds ahead of that. And in fact, it ended up being my favorite film, as well as the favorite film of a lot of people who were watching along with the group that I was in. And I think a few people even ended up rewatching the film during the weekend. So the next movie that I wanted to briefly talk about is a movie called Scare Package, which has, I believe, 7 different directors involved, and they have 7 different segments. It's an anthology series, I guess kind of similar to Tales of Halloween. And so this one is, you know, it's a really cool horror comedy. You know, it starts off really strong and it keeps up that momentum. And there's a really cool cameo in it for y'all to check out. So that's all I'm going to tell you all about this movie. So I'm definitely looking forward to watching it again once it hits Shudder. So when I was originally making my list of films to check out for this film festival, I had a list of probably about 16 to 17 films, which, you know, realistically, I knew I was not going to get through that many films in 4 days. So I thought, okay, well, what are like the top films that I want to see? And so in total, I ended up seeing 8 feature films and 3 short films. And one of the top films that I had to check out that piqued my interest was a film called Dementor. And the reason that it piqued my interest is because it had mentioned in the description that, you know, there was a character with Down syndrome. So of course, since I'm in the disability community and I'm also an actor, I wanted to see if that character was authentically portrayed. And so this movie is about a woman who has left a cult and she becomes an assistant at a live-in facility for people with developmental disorders, including people with Down syndrome. And so this movie, it's typically not my type of fare, you know. It's a really slow burn movie, but and I did find it a little bit hard to follow, especially the flashback sequences, which I believe the setting of those was like in the woods after dark, and they had kind of intercut them with you know, images from the present day of this woman, you know, because she was really having a tough time with kind of coming to terms with her past and kind of moving on. And so that, you know, those segments of the movie were kind of hard for me to follow. But anyway, there was one sequence in the movie that made me really squeamish. I'm not gonna read it for y'all and tell you what it is. But anyway, I did have to look away at a certain point. But anyway, as far as the authentic casting in this movie, I was reading a interview after the fact with the director, and he had mentioned that he cast all non-actors to play the characters who lived at this facility. So, you know, all real people with Down syndrome and other developmental disabilities. So I thought that was really awesome that was authentically portrayed. And I thought it was really awesome to go online and see on Twitter that there are people, well, in my case, I don't usually call them able-bodied people, I call them sighted people. So, you know, I thought it was really awesome to see posts from sighted people online who recognize the fact that, you know, there needs to be more inclusion, authentic inclusion of disability in film, you know, in front of and behind the camera. That is a roundup of just a few of the films that I saw at Chattanooga Film Festival. I'm going to go ahead and make a little bit more of a comprehensive list below if I do find IMDb pages for the other films that I thought were interesting. So I know I hadn't done a film-related video in quite a while. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. Hopefully other festivals will, you know, be taking notes on this, and they'll be having virtual film festivals, because it's really awesome as far as accessibility is concerned, as well as, you know, just people who normally might not be able to attend these festivals, you know, they can just go on their computer and log on and see, you know, whatever films they want to see. Alright, so I hope y'all have an awesome weekend, and I will see y'all later. Bye!